Okay, ladies and gents, I believe this has been a long time coming for a video like this. I'm more than willing to talk about anything and everything on my channel for the most part, and this is one topic that I'm very passionate about, and that is the Second Amendment, right? So, I've noticed that a lot of people that are against the Second Amendment and are in for more gun registration, or they are more so into more gun control, gun registries, stuff like that, are people that are highly uninformed when it comes to not just our constitutional rights, but the hundreds, I'd even go as far to say thousands of federal and state laws that we have in regards to gun control. The fact that nobody takes into account that people are highly limited on, like, law abiding citizens are highly limited on what we can and cannot own, where we can and cannot carry, and how we can carry, including what we can and cannot do in a defensive situation. Now, what do I mean by that? Here, law abiding, well, let me just get into this real quick. Nobody takes into account that, and many of them are also people that are non US citizens that have no bearing on our laws, our culture, or anything, and they get their news on what happens over here from people that don't understand our culture, don't fully understand our laws, and just mostly get their information from studies that are funded by anti Second Amendment politicians. So when I say that the law abiding, let's actually clear this up. One of the things that many people don't understand when it comes to law abiding citizens being heavily regulated on what we can and cannot own, it's not just what type of weapon, but also being able to have the accessibility for the weapon, which many people say, oh, American gun problems are because of accessibility. It really isn't. Well, criminals can get this and that through illegal means. So let's start out with this. In order to legally purchase a firearm, you have to go to a licensed FFL dealer. Like any gun store is a licensed FFL dealer. That includes, since people want to bring up Walmart, if Walmart sells firearms, and believe it or not, muzzle loaders do not count by US law. So any pump action, lever action, semi automatic, revolvers, what have you, any type of firearm that you wish to purchase that is not a muzzle loader, you have to go to a gun store or licensed FFL dealer. So this is not bringing up third party purchases, which, depending on how the third party purchase is and depending on what state, that would also count as a straw purchase, which is a felony, a federal crime. On top of that, we also have to take into consideration that, like, we're heavily limited on where we can and cannot carry and how we can carry. What I mean by that is, people always wonder where the good guy with the gun is. Well, the good guy with a gun is disarmed when they step into an area where they are forced to follow the law or potentially get arrested if they disregard that law. Let me give you an example. One of my friends, a good buddy of mine, he carried a gun into a gun free zone, passed by several cops, nothing happened. Now, what I mean by nothing happened, this happened in a mall that recently had a gang related shooting. So, all that being said, although by the letter of the law, my buddy can legally carry a gun, he did commit a felony that was essentially harmless because he did not have the intent to do harm to others, but what he was doing was simply proving a point that a sign is not going to stop. Even forms of active security are not going to be a deterrent. What's going to protect people is people taking the responsibility to protect themselves, because criminals are still going to carry, whether it's a gun-free zone or not, and whether they open or conceal carry. Again, criminals are going to commit crime. What we can and cannot do in a defensive situation. Well, take a look at the duty to retreat laws. And what I mean by duty to retreat laws, I'm talking about laws that are in several states in the US where even if you do have the capability of stopping somebody from doing harm to yourself and others, you have a legal responsibility to turn around and flee first. This is a very bad idea when it comes to people's personal safety. Why is that, you ask? Because, first and foremost, you don't know the athleticism of the individual trying to do you harm. They could catch up to you. Two, your back's to an enemy, so you're going to be unprepared. Three, none of us can outrun a bullet. So, that being said, now granted, certain circumstances, it is good to run, but if you have the capability of defending yourself, stand your ground and fucking fight. It's the best thing you can do in order to save your life. Now, if it's a holdup, give them your money. Shout out to Detroit Urban Survival for passing on some very, very bad self-defense information, but that's for another day. So, oh, and the fact that we also have many laws that embolden the criminal element, such as criminals having more rights than the victims in several cases. And yes, this is a thing in the US. So, if you want to stop to a lot of this drama and a lot of the death, then allow the law abiding to fight back. If there's anything that's going to help, it's the criminals fearing the law abiding and the repercussions of their actions.